Matter, proclamation.
Good evening, everyone. Today is January 20th, 2026. We are at the City Hall Council Chambers at 100 Polk Avenue in Cape Canaveral, Florida. It is 6:03 p.m. I call this meeting to order. And before moving on to the pledge, I just want to take a brief moment of silence. We are here tonight, and the school board is meeting on Cape View Elementary. I know that's weighed heavily on many of our hearts and minds, and so 10 to 15 second moment of silence. Thank you. Thank you. With that, Councilmember Shoryak, would you please lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Mayor Pro Tem Jackson. Here. Councilmember King. Here. Here. Mayor Morrison.
Here.
Councilmember Shoryak.
Here.
And Councilmember Willis.
Here.
Council, thank you all for being here, city staff, and everyone who's with us today. We are on item number 4 of the agenda, which is to approve the agenda as written or with amendments. Council, any changes to the agenda? I don't have any issue.
I'll make a motion to approve as written.
I'll second.
Got a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Jackson and a second by Councilmember Willis to approve the agenda as written. Any further discussion? Seeing none, City Clerk.
Mayor Pro Tem Jackson.
4.
Councilmember King. 4. Mayor Morrison.
4.
Councilmember Shoryak.
4.
And Councilmember Willis.
4.
Thank you. We are now on item 5.1. This is our first presentation. We have a proclamation honoring Ray Lamar Russell. See, Mr. Russell and Miss Russell are here. Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm going to come forward here to the podium, read the proclamation, and if you'd like to come forward for a photo, we could, and of course, any words when we're finished. So thank you again. This is an official proclamation of the City of Cape Canaveral, Florida. Whereas Ray Lamar Russell, originally from Maryville, Tennessee, relocated to Cape Canaveral in 1966 with his wife, Mary, where they raised their family and earned his Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering from the University of Tennessee and his Master of Business Administration from Stetson University in 1971. And whereas Mr. Russell's engineering career spanned from 1974 to 1991 in digital systems, space lab, and shuttle avionics, in the Apollo European Space Lab, Space Shuttle, and Space Station programs by the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, at the John F. Kennedy Space Center, KFC, and upon retiring, he volunteered as a docent from 1996 to 2011 at KFC's Museum to the Apollo and Saturn programs, sharing his experience amassing Apollo missions from the 1960s. And whereas Mr. Russell owned and managed a consulting business for over 27 years and served as a guest aerospace lecturer at Brevard Community College in the city of Cocoa, And whereas in July 1974, Lamar began his volunteering journey with the city of Cape Canaveral with encouragement of his neighbor, the late Nancy Hanson, where he served on the former City of Cape Canaveral Recreation Board for 4 years with her, and Mr. Harry Rome, which was institutional in the recreation complex construction, and was appointed as a planning and zoning P&Z board member in 1980 and subsequently as chair. And whereas during Mr. Russell's tenure as chair, the State of Florida Department of Community Affairs selected the city to develop the first comprehensive land use plan, which received state approval and served as a model for local governments statewide. And whereas in 1999, Lamar authored Lessons Learned in Planning and Zoning, published by the city, and provided detailed insights and historical context for the city's zoning codes and comprehensive land use planning now used as a reference. And whereas at the April 23, 2016 Founders Day event, Mr. Russell was honored with a Lifetime Service Award, and during 2019 to 2022, he served on NASA's Alumni League and board member. And whereas with over 5 decades of dedicated service and commitment, Mr. Russell and his family have left a lasting legacy exemplified by his memorable reflection, "One of these days, time's gonna go by." Now therefore I, Wes Morrison, Mayor of the City of Cape Canaveral, Brevard County, Florida, do hereby honor Mr. Ray Lamar Russell, who will go down in history as one of the pioneers who has played an instrumental role in shaping the city's history, and on behalf of the community, extend sincere gratitude for his significant contributions throughout his lifelong work, signed and sealed this 20th day of January 2026. Mr. Russell, if you come forward. Mr. Russell, thank you for your service.
Speech. Please, if you would.
Microphone.
The podium, I think, that we need on the record. Thank you.
Thank you. I was going to spare the audience of a speech, and I will. Gosh, where did all that time go? Anyway, we got a lot done, and I appreciate the city giving me the opportunity to be of service. And it's not often you get to serve your neighbors as long as I got to. We're only 2 square miles as a city. We elect our officials. We're literally governed by our neighbors. And so it's a fine, small city that does good things with its infrastructure. And I was happy to be a part of planning that and keeping it in place. But thank you for letting me serve.
And it's rare to have people like you and your wife who's contributed so much to the city. The book I referenced, I'm holding here, Lessons Learned in Planning and Zoning, it is one that I've read, I've went back to, and blessed to have the opportunity at times and to even reach out to Mr. and Miss Russell and ask, what happened here? How did we get here? Just a wealth of knowledge, but most importantly, you both love this city, and we love and appreciate you as well. So thank you. That was special. I appreciate it, and thank you to our city staff for helping put that together. The next presentation we have is a new city staff introduction. Mr. Rich Davis, our city engineer. City manager?
No, Rich is here tonight to meet with the council and the public. Rich, anything you want to say to the council?
That's a tough act to follow. And I wouldn't think of it. Congratulations. It's an honor to be chosen to be an employee of staff this city. And, you know, I've met some really amazing people so far. I look forward to meeting a lot more. And do you have any questions or at all? Anything? I'm sure we'll have time to tag up. I know the mayor, we were in a meeting earlier this week and I've met, I think, all of you, but yeah, once again, it's a pleasure. I appreciate the opportunity and look forward to it.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. I do have a question. Have we ever had in the history, maybe our city attorney knows, an in-house, an employee city engineer? Because as long as I've been here, we've contracted that. Do you recall?
During my tenure, I don't recall an in-house city engineer.
Ask Lamar.
He goes back a lot farther than I.
Have we ever had an engineer, Lamar?
We had people who lived in the town and served as an engineer, city engineer, but I don't think we ever had an appointed position.
Thank you. You said that we've had people that lived in the town and served, but never in an appointed position. And with that, we are very grateful. So thank you for joining the team. And it was great that we immediately started with a project working, but thank you for being here tonight. And we look forward to all the contributions you're going to help make. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay, at this time we are at public participation. Some of you have already filled out cards. Thank you all very much. If you do intend to speak tonight, we ask that you fill a speaker card. They're at the front as you're walking in there. We have 3 minutes. The lights here in front of me will light up when it begins, and the yellow light will come on when there's about 30 seconds left, and we ask that you please wrap up when the red light goes off. And the first card I have is Mr. John Benton.
I'm here because you guys won't give me a code reduction hearing, and you have fired everybody that was doing favors for certain people. Mr. Morley was one that got fired because he was favoritism people, and you just fired him last year. He was doing it for the board. And I was brought to my attention tonight that I should let this go because these are all new board members. But if I'm correct, the mayor, you were on the board when you trespassed me for holding a sign out here protesting peacefully that Judge Crawford came out of the courthouse and asked me to bring here because you guys caused the problem. And the problem would have never been here if it wasn't for the lawyer. If his attorney at the code enforcement hearing would have let me defend myself after Kevin Mann, who is now a pedophile groomer because his son was living in a warehouse adjoining my property and was on the sex offenders list. How many years was he claiming that? He finally got arrested, and you wanted to fire Dave Dickey here lately. He's the only one that helped me out. And if I'm correct, you guys had him sign an agreement that he wouldn't defame you. I've never even heard of that before. It's the lawyer's fault. Wouldn't even let Kevin Mann get up after I testify, and he threw me under the bus. And I had a cop in my unit next to me, renting my warehouse, and he was up there 160 hours, and that was his comment, working on the car. But the code enforcement wouldn't ask him because she said everyone where I lived and him would lie. Turned out Kevin Mann was a liar. And you could have put him in jail for testifying under oath about his son. So why don't the lawyers over here explain to me why I couldn't defend myself? I say it's because I was sending emails to Judge Rainwater from that warehouse before you guys even accused me of it concerning pedophiles. I came forward in 1993, man, when nobody else would do it. He got 5 years in jail. He was a preacher. He was a preacher. You didn't send a preacher to jail in 1993 for molesting children. And here it is, 93 all the way to over 2000. I'm doing it again because I missed them. So that, I think it was because I went to a Jew school, and that was the school I was sending them out to Judge Rainwater. The others there. And I think he found out because he was Jewish. And he wouldn't call out his lawyer because she's Jewish. Trying to chase somebody off from their warehouse? Where does that sound familiar? Israel. They do that to the Palestinians. Almost every NATO country has called it genocide.
Thank you. Mr. Dennis Bushholtz. Dennis, are you with us today? Hey, Dennis, come on forward. Yes, sir. Thank you.
First of all, let me ask forgiveness for my casual attire, but 40 years of shirt and tie and jacket, I avoid it. I'm actually a resident of the city to your south, immediate south, but several of us, along with several Cape Canaveral residents, come to your Hanson Recreation Center to play shuffleboard usually every Tuesday. And I'd like for the council to please go look at those courts. There's 12 courts, 7 of them, the mold is so heavy on one end you can't play the courts. And the 5 that you can play, they're loose, they got hollows underneath, you got ridges, your puck goes bouncing down the court instead of sliding. And I'm hoping that you can do something about it, because now we have people that don't come anymore because the courts are in such bad shape. That's really all I have to say. I hope you please look at it. Thank you.
Thank you for bringing that to our attention. Mr. Rusty Higgins says, yep. Hey, Rusty. Good, thank you.
I don't really need a microphone, but if you want me to stand here, I will. But I
did-
really don't need one. I'm here because of KP, and I know that the school board is making their vote tonight on the existence of KP, and for no other reason am I here. My story begins in 1963. Actually, it begins in 59 when we moved here, but 63 I was attending a school called Cocoa Beach Elementary. If y'all ever heard of that, you will. I started the 3rd grade in 1965 at Cocoa Beach Elementary. Now, to think geographically of how these two towns, and this comes into play with the school board talking about busing and moving kids. I lived on Bahama Boulevard, if you know where that's at. That's across the street from the Hilton. That's how far down in Cocoa Beach I was, assuming that the city line is somewhere around Dunkin' Donuts, whatever, by Avon by the Sea. And 65, we went to school in the beginning of the year in September, and they told us, 3rd grade, that everybody from Antigua, that's one south of Bahama, everybody from there north will attend a brand new school called Cape View Elementary. 1965. And I brought my class picture from 1965,
Wow.
Lakeview Elementary. I'm in this picture. The deal is, what I want to communicate is I don't know that you're going to be able to win the battle of the dollar of keeping these schools open. What we concerned about being Cape Canaveral residents is that'll give us 0 schools. Cocoa Beach has 4 schools. So be it. Because remember, I don't recognize the geographical difference because I grew up on Bahama, which is way in Cocoa Beach, yet we still came to Cape View. When I came to Cape View Elementary, we would stand out back and we would see the Cape Canaveral kids come down this sand path in between the trees to come to school. That sand path is now called Ridgewood Avenue. It was sand at that time and kids came. Another trivial story about going to Cape View in '65. I see now when they talk about tornadoes in the Midwest and they make the kids get in protection. We weekly had to have an exercise of getting under our desk, hands above the head, under our little desk. And you would assume that was for tornadoes or hurricanes. No, it wasn't. It had directly to do with the Cuban Missile Crisis. They were teaching us at a young age to attend there. So, as much as I want Cape View to stay open, I don't give a damn about that. As much as I want that to stay open, I realize the deal is, I'm a graduate of Cape View Elementary. My children are graduates of Cape View Elementary. My grandkids are graduates of Cape View Elementary. That's the solemn part that we would like to hang on to. As a resident, don't you know, I'm really concerned what you're going to do with that piece of property. Really concerned, because that campus is a lot bigger than the brick and mortar, as y'all well know.
Thank you. If you'd be willing to allow us to get a photograph of that, I would love to see it, but we would definitely, with your permission, like to make sure it's on the record.
You'll have to be able to
So
find
which
me.
one is you?
I'm the only one that's unorthodox.
Oh, you're going to leave it up? Wow.
1965. The first, that was probably 3 months after KU opened. And it's going to make me cry when I see it close.
Thank you for bringing this in. This is really special.
See the hands?
Councilmember Willis is guessing you're right up front.
Hands apart?
Is that you?
Yeah. It's this one.
We'll pass it down there. Thank you for sharing that with us. And
I hope it works, but it is what it is, and I just hate the fact that we're going to lose the school.
we agree. Thank you.
Mayor.
Ms. Shannon Roberts, Dr. Roberts?
Shannon Roberts, 703 Solana Shores Drive, here in the city. And I'm just going to list a few subjects, and I won't elaborate, but just to make sure that we're noting them. I know in prior council meetings, we've been concerned about the electric bikes, and I just wanted to give an observation as a Shore Drive resident that goes down North Atlantic fairly often, that the electric bikes frequency and quantity is mainly on Saturdays and Sundays. We did have a sheriff deputy that was there during the weekday, which was very appreciated, but I just thought I would mention the frequency appears to be on Saturdays and Sundays, that we have a fair number of electric bikes that go up and down North Atlantic, if I could just mention that. Another thing is we've talked about having a walkable community, and I know this will sound familiar for PNC. You know, at one time North Atlantic was envisioned to be, you know, a strip of places where we'd have small shops and places where people could go. And I just wanted to acknowledge again today, there were about 100 pedestrians that were going down North Atlantic, and I say that because it was up and down North Atlantic, that appeared to be coming from the port. And I just wanted to mention, they're finding the city, I guess, maybe looking at the residents or whatever, if they're coming from other countries, maybe to be of interest. So I know at one time we talked about having a directional community where we'd have samples of things that visitors might, if they were walking our community, might find of interest, and have a map for the city in that regard. So I wanted to mention that. Another thing, I was out at the Space Center today, and part of the conversation was the LNG development, that there's a lot of concern about the potential adverse effects on the community, and I'm not sure that the city has researched this yet, and probably has, but I just wanted to see if we were going to take a position or at least get some public input on that to see if we could acknowledge some of the concerns the residents have about that. In particular, they were worried about smell. That was the thing that was discussed. And again, this was an informal discussion today at the Space Center. And the other thing was the impact of the launches. I know they approved the larger vehicles to be launched from here, but to advise the city or the residents that are along the beach side, since we are having more launches, what do we do if we have an impact to the buildings and windows? You know, the structures and the windows. If there might be some guidance that we could benefit from the city as it relates to that, because it's envisioned that we're going to have more of a significant impact than we've experienced to date. Thank you.
Thank you. That is all the cards that I have. If anyone intended to speak, I'm going to make sure I didn't overlook one. Come forward. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close public participation. And thank you, Dr. Roberts. We got some notes here on those things. We'll follow up. So thank you. Okay, this time we are at item number 7, was our manager's matters from our city manager. Mr. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. The first item is the City Hall air conditioners, and we've been making significant progress on selecting which manufacturer, looking at who's going to do the software installation that must coincide with that unit being put on there, and what kind of timeline that we'll have. So we've selected a manufacturer. We think we'll see some cost savings, additional cost savings potentially from what we originally budgeted for this project. And we're looking at about a 13-week timeline from beginning to end, potentially starting sometime in April. But we know that our goal is to have that equipment installed before hurricane season starts in June. So we're still working out the details when it comes to the placement of vehicles outside, how much parking will be displaced, what type of adverse impact it will create to the work environment, if we're going to implement any work from home, if so, who and when, those types of things. So we'll keep the council informed, but we are making steady progress, and Lisa has been doing a great job, as well as the rest of the team, to get that up and running. The splash pad at the C5 has passed all of its health department inspections, both at the state and the county level, and it enabled us to open up right on time for this wonderful weather that we've been having outside. We talked about when to open it up, but it's a public amenity, whether it's hot or cold outside. It's open for business, and so the public, if they so choose, can enjoy that amenity, but it is open. We had a walkthrough with the Lunge Group, our contractor, who's going to be doing some work for us at the Nancy Hansen Recreation Complex. And the initial walkthrough was on February 12th, and we are in the design phase of this project. So after taking that team through the facility to get their thoughts, we're still waiting to hear back on what it is that they can do for us work-wise. So we'll keep you posted on that. And finally, we have the digital court recording software installation report to give you. On January 5th of this year, the digital court recording software was installed in the chambers with upgrades to the latest version, and this will provide audio and video multi-channel recording to be available to the public for access. It will integrate with the city's meeting agenda, accessing specific discussion topics after the meeting, automate the agenda with ADA-assisted listening and sound reinforcement, and archive the recording in keeping with legal records retention. So we're pleased to give that update. And along with that, I'll talk about Laserfish because we did discuss back in April of last year at the council's regular meeting, approved upgrading our current records management software Laserfish to the cloud. And on November 18th, the city was notified of the plans to migrate to the cloud, which was performed successfully during the middle of last month, and users were able to access some of the records. And staff is currently in the planning stages of working with another provider to provide scheduled records management training for its users. So moving forward with that. The city personnel updates, we've already covered the engineer position. We have interviewed records management specialists to fill the one vacancy we have there. And we are on the decision-making phase. We have some finalists, and there's going to be a job offer coming soon to somebody. The vacant facilities, utilities mechanic position has been filled. We're happy with that new start, and we just started to interview for the vacant code enforcement position. We did interviews today, and we have some scheduled for this week. The next item is the Muck project, and I did get a chance to brief all of you in some one-on-one meetings. We are, and I'll begin this by saying we are 2 years away from seeing any physical activity out there, but we're bringing it to the council's attention and the public's attention because it is a significant project that the county has hired a contractor to accomplish to the tune of $66 million. It's not just here off the coast of Cape Canaveral in the Banana River, but it's also just off the coast of Cocoa Beach to our south. And you can look up muck for those who don't know what it is, but it is in the bottom of the river, and it grows. Stormwater runoff contributes to it, and it either needs to be removed or capped with some other material, which in this case would be sand. And so we are in the beginning phases of this. We've been contacted by the county on a couple of different occasions. We've had 4 interactions with them since July of 2024, and our next visit with them will be do a site visit at the Manatee Park, where we look to do the staging of the sand. So we do invite the community to pay attention to this project. We will continue to keep the council informed, and we recommend that at some point the council select a date and time to have a public workshop during the evening potentially, so that we can get as many citizens to attend to go over all the details, because this will be an impact to the community, especially with the number of dump trucks that will be coming in with the sand. So, any questions on that before I move on?
Council? I think we're okay.
So, internship program update. I think the council knew that we applied to the Florida City County Managers Association for a $10,000 grant to initiate a internship program. They selected 4 cities in Florida. Unfortunately, we are not one of the cities selected, so we will not be benefiting from that grant. However, we are moving forward with the startup with our internship program. We've done internships before, but we're formalizing it now with a policy and procedure and actual job descriptions to account for the various different interns that we can entertain. And we have a very interested person coming up, so we look forward to continuing to move on this program. And the next item is impact fee schedule update, and I'm going to turn the microphone over to John DeLeo, our finance director, and he can let you know where we stand on that. John?
Just a quick update on that. We met with Ralph Tillis, who we identified because we were going to piggyback on another contract, but Ralph Tillis has done these studies before, and this has to do with the impact fees. When we met with them, it was to identify the scope, because they asked us, well, what do you want it to contain? And it's going to have to do with community development impact fees, building fee impact fees, which will be the scope of the project. So we gave them all the details on what the city will require. Now they're going to go ahead and come back to us hopefully in a week or two with a proposal where they'll show us exactly what they're going to do. We expect this impact fee study to be between $70,000 and $90,000. Although that sounds like, it's a lot of work on behalf of the consultant, of course, but that might sound like a lot of money, but the return will be much greater, and it's something the city needs to do. Community development had looked and saw where our impact fees here at the city are among the lowest among cities in this area in the county. So we need to bring in more revenue. That's one thing council has directed us to do, is look at new revenue sources as we move forward, and we need to do that. This is one of those revenue sources, and with the approval of council, we'd like to move forward in this year, even though it wasn't budgeted, but it was spoken about getting these studies done. And if we had to fund it, it would come out of our contingency. So we have the contingency dollars to do that. And once it did start, probably could take 120 days. So if it started in March, that'd take us to June. But it's important that we get this thing rolling because the city needs the money, and it'll take a lot of pressure off some of the other expenses we have. So we're looking forward to that. If you have any questions.
Councilmember Willis?
John, are you looking at any of the legislation like Senate Bill 548 that is going to limit where we can go with the impact fees in a phased approach?
Yes, and in that respect, we're going to be, the contractor has been doing these studies and is familiar with that, and he will be briefing us on that, and we're going to see where we land. But I'm optimistic that, if we do this study, it's going to be a big help to the city of Cape Canaveral in terms of revenue. As we keep incurring impact fees, we'll get paid more money for it, and that's what the city, why shouldn't the city of Cape Canaveral reap the benefits of greater fees, just like all the other cities in the county?
Well, the legislation that's been out there or introduced recently is going to limit how high we can go at any particular time. So it's going to be a stepped approach,
Right.
which basically handcuffs us.
It may, but then again, it still may allow us for our revenues to, at least our impact fees, to go higher, maybe not this high, but to get as high as we could. So it'll benefit all the people in the city.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, John. And one final note for the council.
City manager, I'm so
I'm
sorry to
go
interrupt.
ahead.
Did you
I just,
or anyone else want to have a question? I think we got a couple more questions, if that's okay.
Oh, yeah.
Mayor Pro Tem Jackson?
what was the name of the vendor again, John?
Rough Tillis, they've actually done our utility studies in the past, but they also do impact fee studies. They do an array of studies, and they've been very reliable to the city. And we went ahead and studied this, and there was another study they did at a major city, and so we looked at that, and so it'd be like piggybacking off of.
And when they provide you with the information as far as the bid for the study and that kind of thing, I personally would love to see how it does work with legislation where we can go as high as we can. If it's going to be a phased approach, then they'll make us potentially go down and down and down from there. But,
Right.
being able to get the most bang for our buck until it's phased solo.
Once we get that information, each council member is going to be able to look at that, and we're gonna share that with council, of course, and then I'll ask all those questions, and I'm hoping for more dollars than less.
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Shaking?
Thank you. These impact fees, did you anticipate that these fees will be affecting our residents? They'll be impacting on our residents, or are you looking at impact fees outside of the residents here? Or both?
I want to get the information on the scope, and then I will be able to give you a very accurate answer on that. Because I don't want to get anybody startled, but I don't believe this will startle anybody.
Thank you.
But I'm going to give you an accurate answer. Let me get the information.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I just have, thank you for this update. Is this something, hearing it's coming out of contingency, the proposal or the presentation, the proposed agreement that would come to council before we approve it? I know we're trying to move with the idea
Absolutely.
prior to the budget.
Absolutely, Mayor.
Okay.
Yeah, we're not,
Thank you.
yeah, we're not just rubber stamping it. All council's going to be briefed on this thoroughly, and then council can make a decision if they want to go ahead and spend the dollars in this year, or maybe you decide, if you tell us to delay it, then we'll put it in the 26-27 budget.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Yes, Mayor Pro Tem Jackson.
I'm sorry, I'm asking another thing, piggybacking off what Councilmember Shay King said. So they'll give us the information in regards to, for example, impact fees for a development
Yes.
versus single-family homes and residences. That will be kind of the way that it's broken down, correct?
That's correct. And of course, when these things occur, the way it increases our revenue is that when you get these impact fees, they're dispersed throughout our services through the city, like police, fire, general fund, library, Parks and Rec. Everybody gets their piece of the pie. But that piece of the pie will be bigger than it normally would be because we're trying to increase the fees.
Well, and we have had a problem in the past with our impact fees because we had a lot of development on the north end of our town, and we don't have the reserves from impact fees for things like our water processing plant update, and things of that nature. So I can see where we need those. But I was curious, I wanted to make sure and mention that it would be broken out in those
It will
areas.
be. Yeah, it'd be very specific.
Okay, and what about with community development?
Community development, whatever, that's another thing. Let's just say that there's a lot of pieces to this.
Okay.
So when I get that study, it'll be broken down, community development, building. It's going to be very specific.
Okay.
And that's why it takes so long to do this study, because they're going to ask a lot of us, and then they're going to put all these different numbers together, and then we'll go from there. It's pretty in-depth study, so.
Okay, and that gives us a little bit of an idea of what we're looking at, so
Okay.
thank you.
Okay.
Yes, Councilmember Willis.
John, do you have a date for the last time we updated impact fees?
And that's it. I've been with the city for 13 years. This is the first time I've seen an impact fee. Before that, I'm not sure. Now, I'm talking impact fee for building and
Right.
community development, because we've done, since I've been here, we've done at least 2 utility studies, wastewater or stormwater. We've done that. And we'll be doing another one of those next February. It'll be time to do it again. But as far as impact fees since I've been here, no, this is the first time I've ever experienced it.
Well, I won't ask Mr. Russell.
Yeah,
We'll
I don't-
let Mr. Russell pass on this one, so.
Yeah,
I
just
think we might have, I know we definitely changed the terms of impact fees were 100% due, and then we did commercial and residential, but I thought we increased impact fees around 2018, 19. I could be wrong. Those are the things we'll learn, so
Yeah.
thank you for bringing it. And I remember the utility, I'm not aware of any study on them, to your point, but it was very comprehensive, what they
Oh,
provided
yeah,
the
it
last
is.
time.
They ask for a lot of data, and there's a lot of estimating and going on and predicting into the future what's going to happen. Things you can't predict, though, right? Inflation, COVID, those things, those couldn't be predicted.
Any other questions, council? Thank you, and thank you.
Thanks.
City manager?
Well, just one final note. Thank you, Mayor. Just a reminder that the council moved to February the site plan ordinance discussion and second reading. And I would just encourage all of you to get with our city attorney with your questions and concerns so that we can make sure that we get it right in February. And if you need any backup documents from the previous discussion, just let the clerk know and she'll get them to you. And that's it for managers' matters.
Just a couple of small questions on your managers' matters.
Yes.
First of all, thank you so much. On converting to the cloud, congratulations. Will the old software be accessible, usable? Does it sync up, or is this something we won't? Because I think it's still on our computers and accessible.
As I mentioned at the April meeting last
Yes.
year, that it's no longer going to be supported by
Okay.
MCCI. So
Thank you. And the DCR, digital recording update, you talked about it updating with the agenda. Is that sort of one of those things where you can go to a PDF agenda online, you could click anywhere on the agenda and it will sync up and take you to the recording, so residents could say, oh, I want to hear about this item, click on it, and it will
act as a bookmark.
Okay.
And, right now I'm looking at the video with John, whereby they're controlling, capturing the speakers more or less. But hopefully, as we move forward, we're going to get a tiny bit of training, and hopefully that will be on the website, working with staff on that. So it's going to take some time, but hopefully once it gets on, then we'll notify you.
Great accomplishment. Thank you very much. And
Thank
again,
you.
thank you for the update. Any other questions, council? With that, that completes the manager's matters. That's something we've started since Mr. Touchberry, our new city manager, started in August, and I just want to say I greatly appreciate it. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
This time we got the consent agenda. It's a short one tonight, item 8.1, which is the approval of minutes. Council, I think we should have all received the revised minutes. There's no issue. We can move forward with that.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I'll second the motion, but I did want to say too that with our poet laureate, I wanted to thank you for the submission about the city of Cape Canaveral that you did. And I look forward to seeing you work. One of the things within the job description itself is working within this generational gap that, because we do have an older population here. So thank you so much.
I think we're going to be getting to that one, 9.2.
Okay.
But yes. Got a motion by Councilmember Willis, second by Mayor Pro Tem Jackson. Mayor Pro Tem, is there anything else?
Nope.
Any other discussion to approve item 8.1, the minutes? Seeing none, City Clerk?
Mayor Pro Tem Jackson,
4.
Councilmember King,
4.
Mayor Morrison,
4.
Councilmember Shorriak,
4.
and Councilmember Willis.
4.
Consent agenda 8.1 passes 5-0. We are now on to the item for action, item 9.1. Yes, Dr. Roberts?
In my card, I asked to speak on this 9.2.
Okay, I'll make sure that you have an opportunity.
Is that been out there yet?
We are not. We're at 9.1. We are as close as we've ever been. So thank you. This is a resolution number 2026-01, which is a grant contract agreement with the Water Reclamation Facility Emergency Shoreline Enhancement. This is a big one. It is I think we've all had the opportunity to read through it, and the total amount from the Florida Legislature of $4,757,900,000. It's a funding agreement we need to approve from the Florida Department of Environmental Protection. I'll ask our city manager if there's anything here. This is probably the most lengthiest part of our agenda. Thank you for getting all this information over.
You're welcome, and you summarized it well, Mayor. I would just offer that Zach Eichholz from the Resiliency Division is here to answer any questions that you may have. He's been involved in this project, as has Tim Carlisle from the start.
Council, any questions on the proposed resolution 2026-01?
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem Jackson.
Mine is not a question as much as a comment on page 9 of 14. There's some new legislation in regards to authorized employment, how the subcontracts and subawards are handled and that sort of thing. I just wanted to let council know that I had discussed that with our city manager, and he's going to be investigating how to ensure compliance with any of the new legislation within the contract itself.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Jackson. I want to comment, thank you. In the agenda summary, there was 3 points of why the council should adopt the resolution. Maybe I overlooked it. I've never really seen that format, but that's very much appreciated. Thank you for putting it together that way. And it really helps us, I think, communicate to the public as well. So, any other comments on this? If not, looking for a motion to adopt.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution number 2026-01.
I'll second that motion.
Got a motion by Councilmember Willis, a second by Mayor Pro Tem Jackson to adopt resolution 2026-01. Any further discussion? I just want to emphasize a big part of the resolution is giving thanks to Representative Tyler Soroy and Senator Randy Fine and in the legislature, and obviously Governor DeSantis for signing this. And thanks to all who were a part of it. Councilmember Willis, I know you were a part of it, and all the city staff, so thank you again.
Thank you.
If there's not any discussion, we'll go ahead and City Clerk, call the roll.
Mayor Pro Tem Jackson.
4.
Councilmember King. 4. Mayor Morrison.
4.
Councilmember Shoryak.
4.
And Councilmember Willis.
4. Resolution 2026-01 passes 5-0. The time has arrived for 9.2. Dr. Roberts, this is Resolution 2026-02, the City of Cape Canaveral Honorary Poet Laureate appointment for Mr. Luke Azalea Haran. If you'd like, please, you said you wanted to speak to this matter? That's okay.
I know Luke's here, I know.
Yes,
Wrote a poem.
he did. For the record, I think Dr. Roberts said that Luke is here, who is seeking the appointment for Poet Laureate, which we appreciate, honorary Poet Laureate. And as Mayor Pro Tem Jackson had alluded to earlier, we've had a couple of meetings and some timing issues, but we really appreciate Luke. He, since then, from the first agenda, I guess it was a month or two ago, has put together a poem for the city. Luke, if you're here, if you'd like to come forward and say anything, if you'd like to share your poem, I'd like to give you that opportunity. Thank you.
Okay.
It's important for it to go in the
Thank you,
record.
Mr. Mayor.
Oh,
I
you're
appreciate
welcome.
the opportunity.
Yes, sir.
I actually wrote 2, so here's the first one. It's called Cape Canaveral, and it goes, where the shoreline meets the future, where the dunes hold whispers of stars, Cape Canaveral rises, quiet at dawn, yet loud in possibility. Palms sway like slow-moving clocks, counting down breaths of morning, as waves practice their endless hymns against the patient sword of sand. Here, air remembers fire. It carries the echoes of engines, of men and women that have served our nation. Our thunder has lifted humanity beyond gravity's grasp, close to the sky's eyes and inside of war-torn countries. But there is gentleness too. The sea turtles who carve their stories into moonlit beaches, we must preserve. The quiet hours when the town feels like a grand cathedral. Cape Canaveral is a promise that every one of us can be dreamers and explorers, because here we have countless who serve to guard our horizons, and because here mankind has learned to extend them. Thank you. All right, so that's the first.
Thank you.
All right, the second one, thank you very much, guys, is let the children remind us of how we used to be. And that one goes, teach them not like saints, but like the world is a busted bar stool, and they deserve better than the splinters we sat on. Let them walk ahead. Small boots kicking dust, owning a future we were too tired to imagine. Show them the gold they're already carrying, that quiet ember inside they haven't been yet told to kill. Search for their rubies to help them make crowns. Our children need to see their shine, for youth who know their strengths are beyond limitation. Let us find the children's immaturity, since it is more meaningful than the facades we have, the genuineness, their crave for understanding, the passion in trusting and ideation, and let the sincerity strike Cape Canaveral too, like a memory we've misplaced. And when their laughter breaks open our air, raw, bright, unashamed, let us embrace it and recall how we used to be. The maturity and innocence, the beauty in untamed ideas, the idealism in laughter. Thank you.
Thank you.
I really appreciate the time.
You're welcome. We appreciate you. So this is, item 9.2, the honorary poet laureate. We have a resolution which calls for a motion to consider appointing Mr. Luke Ezele Haran as poet laureate. Council.
I'll make a motion to approve Luke. And you say the rest of that.
The resolution.
I'll second resolution 2026-02.
All right, got a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Jackson, a second by Councilmember Willis to approve Resolution 2026-02. Any further discussion?
Mr. Mayor, I have a question.
Yes.
How long does this honorary position extend until? Is this a 1-year position, 2-year? 2 years.
It's 2 years, yes.
Thank you, City Manager.
Any further discussion?
I would like to encourage Mr. Luke to write some more about Cape Canaveral, so.
Yes. Today. And Luke, you got a lot of support out there. Some folks that emailed and sent their support for you, and I see a group there around you. So thank you all for getting involved and supporting. It's we voted on business of the city and a lot of tough issues, and it's a nice dynamic to have this as a part of us. So thank you. I see you raising your hand, Ms. White. If you'd like to come forward, we do ask that you speak in the microphone to go on the record. Folks, we record the meetings, and some folks, yes.
Just real quick, my name is Lauren White. I'm the current host of the Poetry Show at the Cape Center, and I just want to say as a testament to both the Cape Center and the show and the arts in general, all the folks that are here that have read in the show or are supporting Luke, like just show of hands, everybody that's been in the show, that's good, and in support of Luke, we appreciate you, and so I'm thankful to Molly for letting me start the show, and this opportunity for us to combine it with the program. Luke's been great ever since he first came, and you're also seeing some of our first-timers that have participated in the show, some of our seasoned folks, folks publishing books. The arts are healing, they're beautiful, so I just want to give note to the crowd that we have here and say thank you again.
Thank you. And I think a bit relevant, especially as you just shared a poem about, obviously, Cape Canaveral and children. I had the opportunity to do the keynote speech for Cape View Elementary 6th grade class last year. And it was such a special, cool opportunity. And I didn't know what I was going to speak about, but I remember going back to my 6th grade year, one of the toughest assignments was memorizing If by Rudyard Kipling. If you can keep your head when all about you, don't worry, I'm not going to recite the whole poem, but to this day, I love that poem. I reflect back on that poem. It's a great reminder, and so just sort of relevant with everything going on right now is some emotional decisions with Cape View, but that was one of the special things that we got to do here in the city, and so poetry is interwoven in what we do, and it just sort of reminded me of that. So again, thank you, Luke. We've got a motion and a second here on the floor. If there's no further discussion, we'll go ahead and move forward. City Clerk?
Mayor Pro Tem Jackson.
4.
Councilmember King.
4.
Mayor Morrison.
4.
Councilmember Shariak.
4.
And Councilmember Willis.
4. Resolution 2026-02 passes 5-0. Congratulations. Thank you.
Congratulations, Luke.
We're now moving on to item number 9.3, which is a joint workshop with Culture and Leisure Services Advisory Board and City Council. Mr. City Manager.
Yes, Mayor, this is an item that came before the council briefly, but got tabled to this meeting. The Culture and Leisure Services Advisory Committee is still wanting to have a workshop with the council, and they're proposing February 3rd, I believe, as a date. And Molly Thomas is here to answer any questions you may have about the need for this meeting and what you hope to accomplish.
I'd actually like to provide some additional information. We did poll our board members. We are up to 6 now with the appointment of Ms. Stant at last month's meeting.
That's great.
So I have updated numbers. The only day that 100% of our currently seated board would be able to participate is the Tuesday, February 3rd that was discussed. And this is a workshop, so quorum isn't necessary, but of course, the more people that can participate, obviously, the better. There are 2 other dates where we have all but 1 person, so I wanted to allow you guys the opportunity to consider those as well, because it's hard to be like, here, take your pick, but there's only 1 day. So Tuesday, February 10th, and Wednesday, February 11th, we would have all but 1 of our currently seated members. So those are 2 other dates you could consider as well.
And the first one, I'm sorry, one more?
Tuesday, February 3rd, which is in 2 weeks from today. So that would be pretty expedited in terms of coordination on the back end and agenda development, but nothing's impossible. And then Tuesday, February 10th, which is 3 weeks from today, and then Wednesday, February 11th as well. And our board typically meets around 5:30, so late afternoon is normal for them.
Great, thank you. Tuesday, February 3rd, we will have the opportunity to meet with the entire board.
Yep, all 6.
And if that is not possible or we're not able to do that, we got the 10th and the 11th, about a week later, where all but 1.
Yeah.
Thank you. Council.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Councilmember Willis.
I would prefer Tuesday, February 3rd, if that is acceptable to the rest of the council.
Yeah, that's the best date for me. I think the 10th, we have the lighthouse tour and all kinds of other stuff, so. But
Yeah, I can't compete with the lighthouse tour.
no, sorry.
Sorry.
The 3rd is fine for me as well.
Works for me.
I'll make it work. I don't have my calendar again. I've got too many calendars, I'm sorry.
Okay, so I think we're looking for a motion to consider. This is great. I think we've got February 3rd as a day where we could potentially all be there.
I'll make a motion that we set a joint meeting with, on February 3rd with Parks and Recreation and Community Affairs.
Second the motion.
Got a motion by Councilmember Willis, a second by Councilmember Shoryak to hold the joint workshop on February 3rd, 2026. City Council and the Cultural and Leisure Services Advisory Boards. Any further discussion?
Did you pick a time?
5:30.
Excellent point. You said 5:30, late afternoon to council. Is that?
That was the understanding.
That's what time our board normally meets. I mean,
Okay.
6 PM isn't a far stretch, and that's what time your board also meets, so.
Let's make it earlier. I mean, 5:30 so staff doesn't have to stay here any longer than they.
So 5 PM?
I can do 5
I
p.m.
could do 4:30, I could do 9 in the morning, I don't.
I could do earlier in the day. I mean,
Yeah, I could too.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah, the poll that went out, the question that they answered was, I am available to attend an afternoon/early evening workshop on the following days. So
Okay.
afternoon, early evening is what they were anticipating.
Why don't we compromise and say 4 o'clock?
You won't hear a complaint from me.
That works for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. So we got the motion with February 3rd, and we've discussed 4 p.m. Is there any further discussion? City Manager, do we got it all? Thank you for catching that.
Absolutely.
Thank you. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Mayor Pro Tem Jackson.
4.
Councilmember King.
4.
Mayor Morrison.
4.
Councilmember Shoryak.
4.
And Councilmember Willis.
4.
That's great. Thank you very much.
And I will be working with Esther to get the agenda and everything out as soon as possible. So
Will you please send a meeting invite for it? I think you're going to anyway, right?
you and me on our calendars, yep.
Thank you.
If it's not on there, it doesn't happen.
Mhm. That's great.
All right.
Looking forward to that. Which brings us to item 9.4. We're still under items for action here, which is a gravity sewer cleaning proposal. City Manager?
Yes, Mayor. So the council, we're seeking a motion to consider approval for the proposal from Tetra Tech in the amount of $99,860 to continue the ongoing gravity sewer project, which involves cleaning, inspection, and evaluation for rehab. This is phase 3 of a project that's been ongoing. And here to discuss it, if you have any questions, are Department Director June Clark and Deputy Director Jessica Erdman, potentially, whoever wants to come forward if needed.
Council? Any questions? Thank you, City Manager. Item 9.4.
I don't really have a question, but I had something I wanted to say.
Yes, please.
As we look at moving forward with looking at resiliency for our city with the increased number of launches and the launches being heavier, this becomes an important thing because of the mapping that's going to be involved with this and the ability to inspect the pipes and that sort of thing. So June, do you have anything that you'd like to add on that for council so they kind of understand?
Council, Mayor. No, it's just that if we want to be able to prove that our system is good and something caused it to go, we need to inspect it so we know that ahead of time. So that's why we need to GIS it now and do all the TBN of it. Then we have proof.
And that is something that we're working at or baselining ourselves within the city.
It's also required
Yeah, well,
by
and that's
712.
that's a good thing to know as well. But there's a benefit other than just the
Yeah,
requirement.
it's actually required. We have required by the state to do this, so we're just trying to get ahead of the game so it's not costing, when everybody has to do it, it's going to go up a lot more. So that's why we're trying to do it now.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other comments, questions on this item? Yes, Councilmember Shorey.
Something is identified, I guess a question for Keith. If they do identify leaks, what do we do from there?
Standard repair and replace process that we have, that we have. We always like to project ahead what we think our maintenance needs are going to be. So the money to repair or replace should be in our budget moving forward. If it's not, then we have other, we can go to contingency if necessary.
Thank you.
Yeah, and wastewater, stormwater is healthy, and renewal and replacement monies. So we've got a good bucket of money in each stormwater and wastewater, so that's a good thing.
Okay, so it's not like we're going to identify it and then wait?
No,
We're gonna
the
get-
dollars would be there for this particular thing. Wastewater and stormwater are in good shape when it comes to those types of things needed.
Okay, thanks.
Mhm.
I do have a question, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, please.
It says the city has initiated an ongoing gravity sewer assessment and rehab program. This would take place even if we weren't planning to examine our infrastructure in the face of possible large rocket launches that might affect our infrastructure. This would be being done regardless or in tandem with it.
Well, it's being done in conjunction with Senate Bill 712 and House Bill 1091. Those are laws that were passed that require us to do what we're doing. But the benefit of doing it now in advance of these rocket launches that we anticipate could potentially damage our underground infrastructure, we will have advanced data to look at. And we're having continuing conversations about what that would look like. I've mentioned to all of you the possibility of coming forward next budget year with some equipment that we can camera our own lines and not have to, borrow equipment through a memorandum with adjacent cities and so forth. Sewer is our primary service here, and we want to make sure it's protected.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? No. We're on item 9.4. We will need a motion to consider the approval of the proposal.
Can I throw another question in?
Yes, absolutely.
So this is phase 3. How many phases are there total?
This is the final phase. Yes, this is the final phase.
Okay, so that'll mean all the city's pipes will have been inspected at the conclusion?
I would defer to June on that, but she's saying yes.
Okay, thanks.
Good question.
Mr. City Manager,
Yes, sir.
on the schedule, that's 150 days from acceptance? Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So, Mr. City Manager,
Yes, ma'am.
that 150 days, any way to expedite it?
Can we expedite it? I think we're
Can we-
probably at the mercy of our consultant and the workload. I don't know if they have other contracts with other municipalities, but expedite in advance of a specific date that you have in mind, or?
Well, in advance of a specific rocket, I have.
Right. Yeah.
And
The
that's
Glenn.
that's next new Glenn
The
launch,
next new Glenn
yes.
launch, yeah. So, I really can't answer that question. That would be a conversation to have with the consultant to see at what rate and pace that they can move for us. Yeah, we can follow back up with you if you like.
That'd be great, thank you.
You bet.
I will make a motion to approve the gravity sewer cleaning proposal.
I second that.
Got a motion by Mayor Pro Tem Jackson, a second by Councilmember Shay King. Any discussion? Councilmember Willis?
I just had one quick question of June. I understand that as they're doing this inspection, it might hinder or impede sewer service to a degree, or cause some adjustments to sewer service?
We want to do it at night. That way we don't have to bring the pumps in, saves us like $54,000. I'll get more into it later, but it's going to save a lot of money. It may be a little loud, but they're going to be in sections. And we let everybody know ahead of time. It's not something we're going to pop on anybody. We'll put off, door knockers. We'll talk to people, get it on the website. But
Okay,
it'll be a lot cheaper if we do it at night because we won't have the flow going through the pipes. We won't have to stop the flow and bypass.
okay, all right. Well, I mean, that was just coloring my view of trying to expedite if we can or can't. So,
If we could do it at night, it'd be a lot faster than doing it during the day.
okay, all right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's all I got.
That's great. Questions? Anything else? We do have a motion and a second on the floor to approve the proposal.
Yes, we do.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Seeing none, City Clerk?
Mayor Pro Tem Jackson,
4.
Councilmember King,
4.
Mayor Morrison,
4.
Councilmember Shorniak,
4.
and Councilmember Willis.
4.
Item 9.4 passes 5-0. We're moving on to item number 9.5, which is manhole rehabilitations. City Manager.
Well, it's a big night for sewer, I'll say that. We're asking the council to approve the expenditure of $28,320 from the wastewater fund to rehabilitate 7 city sewer manholes and continuing our partnership with Max Environmental LLC by piggybacking on the competitive bid contract from the Sun and Lake of Sebring Improvement District. And in the backup documents, you can read to your heart's content about what happens if you don't replace these. We can incur serious damage as it stems from the exposure to hydrogen sulfide gases. Over time, the gas erodes the concrete interior of the manholes, and that leads to several critical issues: operational risks, flow disruption, and structural repair or failure. So we're trying to prevent all that by getting this contract approved.
Thank you, City Manager. Council, item 9.5, manhole rehabilitations. $28,320. Looking for a motion to consider the authorizing and using those funds from the wastewater, as our city manager said, from the wastewater fund. 7 city sewer manholes. That's great.
Mr. Mayor, I
Yes.
make a motion that we authorize the use of this $28,320 for the wastewater fund to rehabilitate the 7 sewer manhole covers. And I think that this is a primary responsibility of the council to make sure we don't have sewer backup.
I'll second.
Got a motion by Councilmember Shay King, second by Councilmember Willis. Great points. Any further discussion, questions, comments? City Clerk?
Mayor Pro Tem Jackson,
4.
Councilmember King,
4.
Mayor Morrison,
4.
Councilmember Shorniak,
4.
and Councilmember Willis.
4.
Item 9.5 passes 5-0.
Thank you, council.
Which takes us to the public hearing. We have one item tonight. It is the second reading. Item 9.6, which is ordinance 09-2025 to abolish the Board of Adjustment. Mr. City Attorney.
Okay, ordinance number 09-2025, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Cape Canaveral, Brevard County, Florida, reassigning the duties of the Board of Adjustment to the City Council, abolishing the Board of Adjustment, adopting conforming amendments, adopting minor technical amendments related to appealing staff interpretations to council under Chapter 110, and expiration of variance and special exception decisions, providing for the repeal of prior inconsistent ordinances and resolutions, incorporation into the code, severability, and an effective date. Again, this is second and final reading, also a public hearing item. There have not been any changes since first reading. Again, this ordinance is about trying to simplify and streamline the city's development permit review process, particularly in this case on this ordinance regarding the variances and special exceptions and other responsibilities of the Board of Adjustment being reassigned to council. I'd be happy to answer any specific questions.
Thank you, City Attorney. This is Ordinance 09-2025, as our City Attorney explained. Before we go to the public, council, as he asked, any questions? He did say there were no changes from the last first reading.
I have a couple.
Yes, Mayor Pro Tem Jackson.
I have a couple for you, City Attorney, just so I understand. So page 7 of 17, line 19.
Wait a minute. What?
7 of 17, line 19.
What page? Oh, 7 of 17? Okay. I thought you said 717.
Oh, 7
Like, where's
of
that page?
17. Yes.
I knew the ordinance wasn't that long. Okay, go ahead.
I didn't warn everyone I've been drinking chicory coffee. That's not good. Okay. All right. So this is a line that has been inserted in regards to meaningful work under the building permit. And so that down to 25, I just wanted a little explanation, because it makes sense that we would, look at meaningful work, but how is that really defined, meaningful?
Did you say starting on line 10?
Line 19.
Oh, 19. Okay.
Sorry.
I was reading 10. So, the intent of that is to add some clarification as to when a development project has been considered abandoned or discontinued. So the additional language is trying to do that, and by stating that, meaning that no meaningful work has occurred under the building permit for such period. It would be up to the building official to determine whether there was any meaningful work that was performed in the construction of the project that's subject to the building permit at issue.
Okay, so the building official would
make that determination on what is meaningful. Really, it's the buildings or construction has to be, done in a way that the construction that was permitted progresses. And there needs to be meaningful work demonstrated to the building official that the work is progressing regarding a project, and the context is under this provision of abandonment or discontinuance.
Okay.
So that's what the building official would be trying to determine in that particular scenario. Did the applicant abandon or discontinue the building being done under the building permit? How would the building official do that? Rather than just leaving it open, the building official would be guided to determining whether there was meaningful work done under the permit to advance construction of the project. And if there is meaningful work, then the building official could not deem the project abandoned or discontinued.
Okay. So then line 21 through 25 is talking about variance exception granted in conjunction with the site plan.
Yes.
Approved. And so it's considered incorporated into the site plan approval and the expiration of it or special exception shall be the same as the site plan. So it just attaches that variance to the site plan's permitted timeframe, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. I just wanted to, is that normal practice?
I think that is, it's not unusual, it's not extraordinary. The codes that actually think through the issue, and kudos to Lamar Russell, by the way, because I spent 30 years working with him on the P&Z board. If we kick the tires and think this through, you know, the variance or a special exception may just be one piece of the project. So a lot of times that, you know, gets decided, and then you have another development permit on the site plan. So the intent is to try to make the deadline to perform the same.
Okay.
Pick all the little pieces of the development permits that are part of the overall project. We're trying to consolidate them and make them run concurrently together rather than have to worry about a developer processing development of a site plan and now I got to go back. Oh, my special exception expired. Well, no, if you got all these approvals and we're consolidating the timeframes, the developer continues to proceed under the critical path of the main development permit.
So that's how this is actually streamlining that process.
Yes, and it's trying not to pull the rug out of a developer on one little technical development permit when they're really working under this master, right, site plan.
Right.
And trying to develop the whole overall project. Why pull the rug out from a developer over one of the little technical permits like a variance on a setback when the variance is incorporated into the site plan? Right, that doesn't make any sense.
Knowing it just as an extra step, or could end up potentially being an extra step, so it makes sense to me that it's rolled into the site plan. That's actually streamlining the process. Yes. Okay, and the other thing I just wanted to make sure council knew is on line 31, all of those variances, before they come to council, and you correct me if I'm wrong, they're going to go through the P&Z for approval before they come to us.
Yes. Okay. Everything that gets presented to the city council, variances, special exceptions, have to go to the planning and zoning board for the recommendation. The recommendation, rather than going to the board of adjustments, is coming directly to the city council.
Okay, so, which makes sense as well, because the site plan is going through the P&Z as well.
Correct.
Okay, so that is streamlining that process as well.
Yes, they will have that background.
Okay, that may be all of mine, but I'm still scrolling. Oh.
Through 17 pages, not 1,700 pages.
Right.
No, good questions.
Okay, another one I have for you, City Attorney, is on page 12 of 17, line 35 and 36, and it was on the change of use. And so that is going to be at the community director level now for any change of use. And once again, is it a process similar to with the building inspector who would determine if the project was, abandoned? Is it the judgment of the community development director on the change of use?
It's on 110-257, which starts on line 34 on page 12. those are, the current code states that if there is a zoning use, which in the opinion of the building official is similar to a permitted use, they have the building official has the ability to determine that it's similar enough to be considered permitted. So, as you know, the building official is not the one that's in the weeds on the zoning code. On a regular basis, the building official deals with the building code.
Right.
So that language, assigning that responsibility to the building officials, a relic of the past. The change would be to strike the building official and put the community development director in that role, because this is all about Chapter 110 zoning, not the building code. The community development director would be the one in her department, or his department would be the one most familiar with interpreting the zoning code, not the building official.
Okay, so once again, streamline process. And in the
assigning,
right,
streamlining process, but assigning the duties to the proper official.
okay,
Rather than an official that's not in the weeds day to day on the interpretation of the zoning code. Because ask anybody in the planning department how many times they interpret the zoning code in any given day, it could be 100. Ask the
Right.
building official, I haven't seen the zoning code for, a couple of days or 7 days, So it's the zoning, assigning the duties in the right place. That's what this does.
and this is dealing strictly with the things that the adjustment board did, versus, we have other things in place where a city manager approves some things. That's in the next bill, from what I'm seeing, that we'll be going over in February.
In February, yes.
So this is strictly with the adjustment board,
Correct.
streamlining that. Okay, Mr. Mayor, I'm through.
Good questions, thank you. Council, any other questions for our city attorney or city staff before we go hear from the public? None. This is a public hearing item. Second reading and final reading for ordinance 09-2025. Abolishment of the Board of Adjustment and all the procedural changes that our city attorney and this council and Mayor Pro Tem Jackson just worked through. So no need to have any card. If you intend to speak, please come forward. Seeing none, we'll go ahead and close public participation, bring it back to the council. All right, council, be looking for a motion? Or
I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance number 09-2025.
I'll second.
Got a motion by Councilmember Willis, second by Mayor Pro Tem Jackson. Any further discussion? My comments are thank you, and the titles, what I read originally, abolishing a board. There's so much more to this that as we've had a chance to go through it, and thank you to all who are involved to make these procedural improvements. I do think it's practical, and I know hard work went into that. I look forward to seeing it in action, so thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
All right, if there's nothing else, City Clerk, please call the roll.
Mayor Pro Tem Jackson.
4.
Councilmember Councilmember King.
4.
Mayor Morrison, I'm sorry.
That's okay, 4.
Councilmember Shoryak.
4.
And Councilmember Willis.
4.
All right. Ordinance 09-2025, which is item 9.6, passes 5-0 on second and final reading. Which brings us to the end of the public hearing. And we do not have item 10, items for discussion. We do not have any items for discussion. We are now at reports, item number 11. What a great meeting, by the way. 7:37. And that is good. So thank you all getting through it. Some of you might know, with the good news, my reports, I just want to to start off with some very sad news. I got word that the school board did in fact vote 5-0 to change the boundary for all Cape Canaveral residents will go to Theodore Roosevelt Elementary. And that is unfortunate. I think this.
5-0?
Yes, sir. It was a 5-0 vote by the board, and this council immediately upon notice, I'm very proud of our city council. I'm proud of our community. We drafted a resolution with our city staff and city attorney and everyone who's been a part of this emotional roller coaster in a very short time. That resolution did not get any response. We then took it upon ourselves in the last meeting, working through this to request a joint workshop, which was held on January 6th. We expressed our open willingness to explore alternatives, as the resolution stated. That meeting did not result in any response, I think, favorable, as we've waited since the January 6th to today for really 2 weeks. And as of today, thanks for their, again, city staff support, we were able to send a letter to the chair and the board just reiterating our willingness to work with the council. I did share that. That's a public record. And through the meetings, thank you, yes, have that there. So many people have been a part of it, but I think there were 13 speakers from the city of Cape Canaveral who I believe remain professional and respectful. I also want to thank our city manager. I got word that Tamsin Bell, our Community and Economic Development Director, was able to attend to represent the city, and she did an excellent job. I got word, so thank you again for her.
You're welcome.
Being there, since we had a meeting tonight, and all the residents in the community. And so it is a sad day in Cape Canaveral with that vote. Very unfortunate. While the school board has its authority, my last and final statement would be that our city attorney, who's been with us throughout here, we expressed a desire to look at procedures, and I just want to say that as this moves forward, boundary change, there's a closure process from my understanding that still needs to happen. If there's any intergovernmental coordination that is required that I do not think we've been given adequate opportunity, this council takes any actions necessary to protect education. Access to education for our Cape Canaveral residents is very important. And so we're going to do our best on our side, but thank you, City Council. And that's I wanted to share that immediately as I knew. And I couldn't be more, I don't know what else we could have done. And so thank you again. I know a lot of work went into that. So with that, I'll be up in Tallahassee. Thanks City Clerk's office for helping getting that scheduled. League of Cities does a first-class job of getting everything ready. I think some other members of this board will be up there as well, and I look forward to doing that again. It's been a few years since I went up there next week during session, and we'll keep an eye on these bills. So that's all I have for reports.
Well, I can report that Congressman, maybe one day, Councilman Shoriak and I attended the Space Coast League of Cities business and dinner meeting the other night in Palm Bay, and I was very impressed, very, very impressed with what the city of Palm Bay has accomplished since the early days when I remember Palm Bay being just an upstart with lots of cheaply built homes, tracts and tracts of homes, and they've come a long way with their attraction to high-tech businesses. And it was nice to get to meet some of the people that were there. We enjoyed the meal. Thank you very much to the taxpayers for that. And so anyway, that's the only report that I have. Thank you.
Reports are optional. If you have anything to report.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir, Councilmember Willis.
like you, I'll be attending legislative days next week in Tallahassee. We have 33 other League of City members that'll be attending. Unfortunately, I have to wrangle a group of those, so I won't be able to be with other council members, but there is a number. I think we're up to 1,800 bills this year already, which is about average, unfortunately. And the majority of them are preempting city's authority. That seems to be the effort that goes into it. And I did find out that of our 40 senators, only 8 have any municipal experience.
Wow.
And I think the percentages are maybe similar for the House. I don't know exactly what they are, but we have to go and educate. We have to let them know what the bills that they're pushing do to city government and us being able to provide for our citizens and good government. So I'm looking forward to it, and it's going to be a interesting session. So
I'll see you up there.
okay.
Thank you. And thank you for all your work with the league. Last but certainly not least, on the council at least, Mayor Pro Tem Jackson.
Okay, so I will be at legislative days next week as well, and I look forward to that and getting to experience that for the first time. But my reports this week are a little different because they address something that Dr. Roberts had concerns about, and that is what we are doing and working towards on protecting our infrastructure and working with our citizens on protecting their property. And Zach and I both attended the Space Coast Condominiums Association's meeting this week or last week, and we were able to both speak. And then we also met with Solana Lakes, get the name right, and spoke as well. I spoke to a document that we worked together on, Zach, the city manager, myself, and we put it together and handed it out as a handout. And I'm going to let Zach talk to you about what we are going to do with putting that on the web, making it available to people. We talked about documenting the property's condition and monitoring vibrations. We handed out the handout, and I went through the history of what got us here and things we'd found in Boca Chica versus here and that sort of thing. And then Zach did a great job discussing the vibrational aspect of it and monitoring that. So I'm going to let Zach talk to you about his part. And y'all, there couldn't have been a moment where the hand of God came down and hit something like this second meeting. You will not believe it. I'm going to let Zach tell you about it.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Jackson. Yeah, as she was saying, last week we went and visited Solana Lakes to discuss the project, and during my talking points, there was an actual Falcon 9 launch that rattled the clubhouse to the ground almost, and it kind of, if there were any doubters in the room as to whether or not they should participate as a condo association in the project, the rattling doors really made them say, I think we should maybe do this, because this was just a Falcon 9 launch. But it was a very productive meeting, and the overall schedule of the project, next week, Rollins College is coming to install the first permanent acoustic station on the top of this building, so we can begin doing monitoring for all the launches instead of just having them come out one at a time. And then we'll be moving forward with sensor deployment at the other sites probably in February or March to leave them there for a period of months to determine vibrations, sound, and air quality readings. Today, Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University installed 2 air quality sensors, one on this building and one on the community center. to measure air quality from 6 different pollutants related to rocket launches. And those came, fortunately, free to the city. Embry-Riddle just wanted the research data, so that was nice. So that's about where we're at with that. And we are tracking the Space Launch System launch for the Artemis II mission on February 6th. That is dependent upon a few different things on NASA's end as to whether or not that will go off on that date, but the launch window is from February to April, so it is quite a window. That is a very large rocket, and we have expressed to Rollins College that we would like them here with permanent equipment or temporary equipment if they can't get it in time to make sure we record that specific launch for a baseline as well, since the SLS rocket is scheduled to also only get bigger from here on out with subsequent upgrades and whatnot as they push that further and further out into the cosmos. So that's about where we're at. If you have any questions, I can take them.
Wow.
Wow.
And so I'll wrap a little bit of this up. So the federal legislation that says that property damage can be covered, when there's a launch, it has the term verifiable in it. So it's verifiable damage. What had occurred in some of the areas of Texas is they hadn't done this ahead of time, so it wasn't verifiable. So they're chasing things in arrears. They're trying to play catch up. We're trying to get out there ahead of it so that we know how our city is, the infrastructure, the GIS mapping and all of this is going to help that as well, even though it is required. And then the meeting with the Space Coast Condominiums Association just hit a large group of people. It was, how many? We ran out of handouts at 50.
We brought 45 flyers, and there were probably close to 55 people in the room. It was a good audience.
Yeah, so we had a great audience, and those are the condo association board members. So they are going to be going back and looking at setting a baseline for their properties. And the milestone report, or the milestone inspections that were required by the state of Florida, along with the structural integrity reports, those are going to serve as a great baseline for them. But this will, we made recommendations of recordings, recording that your stuff works, your water is working in this fountain or the pool, or, that your things are operating correctly, and that with individual units that you'd want to make a video, just like if you're trying to cover for a hurricane, you'd want to show that your unit is okay, that you don't have cracks, that your plumbing works and things like this. So these were the common sense things. Now, Zach and the staff took it further as far as talking about improvement of structural resistance. If there was work you're doing on your home or the condo is doing work, using vibration mitigation measures and checking their insurance companies and that kind of thing, and acting quickly. So we had talked about making this available on a website. I know that's not, right now, you're a little busy with getting all this literally done, but
I think it's worth doing that, to have a dedicated webpage. I mean, we have one for hurricanes, and why not for this? I do think that the public needs to understand that as the launch operations continue, that they should start to look at Kennedy Space Center and the Cape Canaveral Space Force Station more as an airport in how it functions with daily flights that come in and out. That's the type of repetition and economies of scale that they're looking at doing to continue to make this part of the economy grow. So to have preparedness and to have people aware of what can happen, what can't happen, and what it's doing is important, and I think a dedicated webpage at the least is what we can do.
And then I've spoken with our city manager about, looking at building code and that kind of thing. I made a suggestion of well, he had reached out to to someone in Texas and found that there's really not anything for what do you do with vibrations on building code and things like that. So I've suggested reaching out to the Bay Area in California, who vibrates a lot, because I've been in an earthquake out there. So, and there's definite building code there that we in Florida would not be aware of here, because we're not used to this type of scenario. So, just so you know, we've discussed those things as well, because as we look at moving forward, if, we're not going to stop this. So the best thing that we can do is make sure our city is resilient and prepared.
I have a question, and really it's kind of directed to Zach. Zach, you do those regular video interviews. Is this a topic that you'll be doing and educating the public about exactly what we're talking about? The fact that we obviously can't stop progress, but how can we protect ourselves against damage from that process? Will you be implementing those in your video interviews?
Absolutely. That's a great point, and I think that's a very good platform to get that out into the public very easily. That can be disseminated either through a link or just referring people to the website in general. That's something that we can do for sure.
Right.
And especially, I think, as the studies wrap up on our end about how things fared, I think it would be cool to have the research team kind of say, from their professional lens, this is what we found. The team that we have out of Rollins, they're quick to point out that they are acoustic professionals, not engineers. So it's basically saying, we have this data, you can take this now to an actual structural engineer and have them interpret it for you and say, yes, no, maybe so, you should do this, you should do that. That's the kind of thing that we're looking for, to empower the public to say, hey, this is real world data, I need to do something with this kind of thing. So I think that would be a good start to do that.
Yeah, I think it's critical, because reading some of the comments in like nextdoor.com, I mean, there are people out there who really, they're not worried about it at all. They think it's wonderful. And it is in one respect, but not at the cost of our infrastructure. And so I think that needs to be really driven home too.
Yes, I do think that's important.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Did I miss anything, Zach?
I think we're good.
I really was glad that he moved away from the doors, though, at the one place.
It was actually quite pronounced. I was very shocked at how much vibration was going on, and they are quite close to begin with. But that was just a Falcon 9 launch, and there are many much bigger rockets on the way. So I can only imagine what, maybe one or two times, okay. But the repeated cadence that they're talking about with dozens per year from multiple sites.
And
might start to add up.
How many condo complexes do we have right now that have signed up?
3
throughout
at
our
the moment.
city.
One in the northeast corner, one in the central area of the city, and one in the extreme southwest corner of the city. So we have the full gradient to see what sound does as it travels southward.
Smart.
Yeah.
You have a comment, Dr. Roberts? Okay, if you don't mind, please, take your time.
I'm so glad you all are doing this. Living at Solana Shores, which is right on the beach, and the northmost condominium that we have in our city, and actually Brevard, to be honest, right there. When you mentioned the northeast corner, are any of those directly beachside?
The closest one is Solana Lake, across the street, I believe, from there.
Right.
Solana
It's-
Shores
it's-
are great too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Solana
So-
Shores is actually on the beach itself, and that's the only reason I mentioned that, the unique nature of that. I think you got the water and the whole acoustic system, as you're pointing out. I just want to make sure that we capture that in some fashion. Thank you for doing what you're doing, by the way. It's quite remarkable, the effect it has. Like you'd noticed, it looks on the lake, because it shakes our sliding glass doors really dramatically. So, and that's the word we have, is that the harder they get, or the more, the stronger they get, it's going to really have some measurable damage. The problem that we have as condominium associations, if I could mention this, as owners, is what do we do, like you were saying, Congresswoman Jackson, about the preparedness of this. But
Well-
instead of being in the arrears, are we gonna, what do the condos do? What do the homeowners do?
Well, and that was one thing that when I discussed this with the condominium associations, document. So take a video of the inside of, I'm going to take a video of the inside of my unit, showing that I don't have cracked walls, showing that my windows are intact, showing that my faucets run and my toilet flushes and those functional things are there. If there was a problem, for example, with a pipe to one building or
Right.
something like that, that's going to give your condo complex documentation to show, oh, this was working before and now it's not after the launch. Showing that the condo association, showing that their buildings don't have cracks. Because all of our condos have had concrete restoration due to
Right.
the requirement with the milestone inspections and the SERS reports. So we're in good shape as far as our concrete shoring up. And this is when you should have videos of those things. Single family homes should do the same thing and show that your things work that are utility related, and show that your the outside of your house is good, your foundation's good, if it's a single family home, things like that. Pictures, videos.
And your proposed process, let's say that we do have damage, then I think the public information that you provide is what do you do? What are the next steps? And who do you
There-
hold accountable?
There,
in that
on
way?
the back of the brochure from the last public hearing with SpaceX, each company has an insurance group, and so there's an email address that you send your information to, and this will get more information. We just haven't gotten to that point yet, but we will get more information out there because you have to go through the company launching.
When they had those EIS hearings,
Mm-hmm.
the resounding comments from the public that were at least at the Radisson was not in favor of this. They went ahead anyway, but I don't know, were there any corrective actions or anything taken by the federal agencies who were there to mitigate some of this?
From what I understand, they have given SpaceX the approval to build the pad out here. But SpaceX is working on version 3 rocket. And it was testing version 2 is
Right.
what it was testing last year. So from what someone at the Space Center had told me, they have to go through a certain number of those. He said 7 successful launches. Those are all happening out in Texas. But the FAA is the one that issues the license for the vehicle itself, for the rocket itself. And that has not been issued yet. And Sean Duffy was acting interim NASA administrator in October and went out to bid for the companies in order to see who's going to provide the ride to the moon. It was locked under a SpaceX contract, and because they're wanting to do it fast with us being in a space race with China, he put it out to bid. So now it could be Artemis, it could be Blue Origin, it could be, SpaceX or any of them.
And
So all of those things will tie
Yeah.
into that as
well, I
well.
appreciate tonight. I know it's a very complex issue, but thank you for being sensitive to it, doing whatever you can. And I'm assuming you all will hopefully meet with some of these other beachside communities that, and the houses too, as you point out, are also subject to this. But I think this educational outreach you did to Solana Lake is something, if you all might be able to replicate that in other communities, I think that they would appreciate that.
And
Thank you.
I know that I am happy to do that, and I had asked Zach if he was willing to do that, if we had anyone else reach out with us. When we met with the Space Coast Condominium Associations, that even met with people that are not in our city, and we had interest, people that were interested in getting the information as well. So, we're, the city manager and Zach have been really great to support whatever we need to do to help with this initiative.
I think it's important too to bring up that some of the sensors will be transferable. They won't be permanent. So maybe in the earlier stages of the study, we could transfer them from condo to condo just to get an idea of what's going on. But I think it's also important to remember that the city is quite small, fortunately, from a science perspective. So what we record is pretty likely transferable data-wise to what another condo is experiencing. And we have a data set for the 3 condos that were chosen from ones that were some of the newer ones built in the city in the 2000s to ones that were built back in the 60s to ones that were built in the 70s and 80s. So we have a good breadth of construction details in terms of how they would affect materials with cinder block and whatnot. So I think that will be very good to show the diversity of construction and the time periods in which they were built. So those other condos that didn't have the direct sensor installation can understand, hey, we were built around the same time with the same materials. The data is probably applicable, kind of thing.
It's great.
There's a difference among all of us in the condo community. There's a difference between beachside and once you go on in.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the reason I don't think I'm sensing beachside yet. I'm talking about.
Yes, and that's what we could do that with transferring the sensors, but I also do think that because of how powerful Starship is and how powerful New Glen is, if you were standing beachside with an uninterrupted view to a little bit more inland, it might not matter that much. Clear line of sight shore would probably not obstruct sound as much as it would, but the overall, and you can see it in the EIS data too, that the overall plot of sound attenuation through the area is pretty uniform in the rings of how it decreases from decibel level to decibel level. So I do think if you're standing on the beach or a few hundred feet inland or a few thousand feet inland, you will probably hear it just as well. And we feel it.
And we do have Shorewood that's willing if
Absolutely.
need it. So, and we're just, I know Zach's working schedule with where these go and getting the readings in various areas first, so.
Yeah, and that also includes the water treatment plant.
That's great.
Just in
Critical
case.
infrastructure. Thank you all for all your hard work.
We have a question.
I do, thank you, Zach, thank you.
Sorry.
The sound, what's the difference between the sound and the percussion? Is there a difference?
That's a great question that I don't know. I would love to know that.
Okay, all right. I mean, is the percussion the thump you feel in your chest when the big drums go by? Or is it related to sound? I mean, that's my question, and I'm thinking that it's going to be the percussion that is going to create the vibration that's going to rattle windows and crack foundations.
Right. Yeah, it's the sound, and it's the sound that for acute damage, I would be concerned about the sonic boom upon re-entry of the booster when it comes back to the landing site. Because the sonic boom is proportional to the size of the vehicle. If the vehicle gets larger, the boom gets louder. So that could be significant times by dozens of launches. So I could ask the researchers if there's a difference between what sound, pure sound, and percussion is. But they'll be they actually measure in hectopascals, which they convert over to decibels, which is what we're more attuned to hearing in terms of understanding the sound scale.
Okay. And the other comment that I want to make is that we have an advantage over the people in Boca Chica, Texas, because we can learn from them what they've been through, and we know the right questions to ask at this point. So that puts us ahead, I think. I think in that regard, we're very fortunate. So, okay, that was the only thing I wanted to mention. Thank you. And thank you, Congressman. Thank you very much for all your efforts.
I'm happy to do it. And one thing, as you talked about the percussion, there's overpressure. And so, believe me, I spent a whole week looking up every acronym in that EIS. And the overpressure is what you feel, and that's totally different than the sound.
I see.
And as explained by one of the actual rocket scientists that was at the May meeting, a lot of glass breakage and things like that happens afterwards because of the low megahertz sound that we don't even catch with our ears. So there's a lot of moving pieces to it. Also, I want to commend our city manager who is taking a lead and staying in touch with Port Isabel, Texas, and their city assistant city manager. So thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
So much for that, because I think those relationships, we can learn a lot together. Okay, I'm done.
Thank you. That is, it's a big topic. It's a report item that could turn into a workshop because there's so much interest and great questions. And I have some. So thank you all. I think we got the right team, the right brains, and I think if there's any urgency, that Artemis, that's a big one. So
Yes.
thank you for clarifying that. That one's going to shake, percussion, boom, all of that. And so I think that's all the reports, Mayor Pro Tem Jackson. I think you're finished. And go over to our city attorney. Anything for us? No report. City manager?
No report.
City clerk's office? Finance department?
Nothing.
Director? Thank you, John. Brevard County Sheriff's Office, anything we need to know? Thank you for what you do. Yes, thank you. And with that, we'll go ahead and adjourn.